Greetings, everyone. So I'm going to jump right in it and tell you about my horrible experience with ADT. ADT is a home security company. I'm sure we've all seen the commercials, but there's one of the more high-end and one of the more popular home security companies. So as a landlord, back in July of 2020, I called around to find the best home security company for one of my rental properties because I live about 2 to 3 hours away from the property, depending on traffic. So I needed something where I could monitor the property, even if my property manager wasn't available. Something where any time of night I can go to the app and see what was going on with the property as far as trespassing goes or anything like that. So I called up ADT and I spoke to the rep on the phone. And so far, she sold me on the product, and I asked about the cancellation policy, and I was told that if you cancel the policy, there is maybe like around a $350 penalty fee you pay for canceling the contract. So with that being said, I signed up for it. So they come and they do the home installation, set up the product for you, the services. And first she told me that I was getting a camera. She asked how many cameras that I wanted. And I wanted one camera. I said just for the front door, the main door, I wanted a camera there. So when the installation is done, there's no camera. So I bring this to their attention and they said, oh, that wasn't in your package. You don't need the camera. The one we have is great. If you look at it, you install the app, run it. All you have to do is monitor your property on the app. So on the app, for one, when they set it up, you have to create your own house. First, where all the alarms are positioned. So you can create your the layout of your place on this app. So that I didn't like. First of all, I really didn't like that because sometimes, the creation you do might not actually be what's on site, isn't close to what's on site in some cases. And, but I was fine with it anyway. So when the COVID hit, I decided to sell the property because one, the property that I had I was running a business for recovering addicts and transitional housing. So that's people that are recovering from drugs. Either they're coming out of jail or they're coming out of a rehab program, and the program they're with would pay you the tenant's rent for about 6 to 9 months. Same thing with someone coming out of prison, halfway house. Their rent is paid for a duration, and when that contract is up, they're on their own. Basically, you're on your own as far as collecting rent from them, but they're supposed to be on their feet by then. But when the COVID hit, there was just no way I was able to collect anything from these tenants. And I had a tenant that was so horrible and egregious that she decided to sublease the place to other junkies. So they basically turned my property into a drug den, into a crack house or meth house, whatever you want to call it. I would say meth house. So anyway, I decided to sell it, and I sold it for less, maybe about a 25% less than what I bought it for. So I took a big loss with that, huge hit. So anyway, in June, I called ADT and I tell them that I'm canceling the service. And they said, okay, that's fine. They asked why. I said, I sold the property. I no longer need the place. They said that was fine. So they would send me maybe like a final bill and what I owe for canceling the contract. Fine. That was June. August rolls around. I check my email and I get a message from ADT saying that I still owe, they haven't been able to collect my monthly balance. And I owe maybe like this month's fee, August fee, which is like $50 something. No, $60 something. Anyway, I call them up. And I tell them, the person I speak to says she's working from home, whatever. She says she didn't see that I ever called in and canceled. So right now we have a record keeping issue. And when I said I wanted to cancel it, she said, okay, you need to give me this 4-letter PIN you set up. I never set up a 4-letter PIN. I keep all my passwords and everything on my phone in my Google account so that I can. So I went to that account, nothing there. And I know I set up a 4-letter password, which I give to the tenant so when they need to disable the alarm. So anyway, I tell her, I said, I don't have that, but I have a 4-digit passcode. She said, that's not what we're talking about. We need that 4-letter one. I said, I don't have that. I never set that up. She said, well, sorry, sir, I can't help you without that. Now, she was polite, but I think she was being passive aggressive because she refused to help me. But she kept telling me, oh, I'm sorry, you're going through this. And it sounded very scripted. Listen, I was a call center supervisor for 3 years. I know that these empathetic statements, they're scripted. And hers sound like she was reading from, oh, well, sir, I'm so sorry to hear this, that you're going through this. So anyway, I said, listen, can I speak to a supervisor? And she says, well, if you don't have that 4-letter code, they're going to tell you the same thing. And we're working from home, so there's no one I could transfer you to. Sorry. And I'm really sad that you're going through this. So I said, okay, fine. And she reminds me that can I take a survey for her? So I know all of this is scripted. You know, call center reps, they're supposed to say that to you in some of these companies. So anyway, I call back and I get someone else. The person I get after her says, oh, I see you called in twice. I see you canceled your services in June. I don't know why my colleagues didn't follow through with that. She said, but in order for me to help you, I need that 4-letter passcode. I said, listen, I never set up a 4-letter passcode. Wait, let me just go backtrack to the person I spoke to before her. I forgot this detail. She said, well, if you go into your email, you can create a 4-letter passcode right now. And when I tried to go into the email, it says my account doesn't exist. And it wouldn't let me create one. I said, wait, this doesn't make sense. Your email, your online portal is telling me that I don't have a profile, but you're billing me to that same email address that you're saying I don't have a profile for. That doesn't make sense. Could you make sense out of that to me? She goes, oh, no, I'm sorry to hear you going through that. So anyway, now the current rep. So she says, you don't have that 4-letter passcode. You should have a customer ID within the app. And I'm like, why didn't the last person say this to me? So I go to my phone and have the app installed. And sure enough, there's a customer ID number there. I give her the customer ID number. She cancels their services for me. And she says, okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm going to backdate this bill, whatever, so that you're not billed from June forward. And you could expect something in the mail that recaps the resolution here. So anyway, I'm done with it. Go about my day. Around 8 o'clock that same night, I get a call from ADT. And it's a nasty woman on the phone with me. And she says, I'm calling to collect the balance you owe on this account. I said, wait a minute. I said, I called to cancel the account. She said, well, that's what you get for not canceling the account. Now you got to pay. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, so the penalty fee was $350. Send me a bill. I pay it. No, mister. You owe $1,250. I said, wait a minute. No. When I signed up for this, the sales rep I spoke to told me the cancellation fee was $350. She said, well, I'm sorry they lied to you. I have your contract in front of me. So I said, wait a minute. She said that you signed. So I said, wait a minute. So that means that when they speak to you over the phone, they'll tell you one thing. But once they install the services and they give you that contract to sign off, it says something else. So there's some bait and switch going on with ADT. So I said, wait a minute. So I said, isn't there some accountability for that? I said, aren't you able to pull these calls? Because I know, working in a call center as a supervisor, we were able to pull calls. Once someone said that they called in on this date, if the agent noted it, we would be able to go to that date and pull that call. Sometimes if they did not note it, there are ways we could run that phone number to see when last that customer called in and pull those calls. So I'm thinking, well, you don't have a way of pulling this call? It wasn't that long ago. It was only maybe like 7 months ago or 8 months ago. You should have that. Sir, no, we cannot. I don't have access to that information. Something to that effect now. Paraphrasing. But anyway, she's like, well, you owe $1,250. So I said, okay. All right. She said, well, that's what you get. You should have took the services with you. I said, listen, I'm a landlord. This was a temporary service that I set up. I have no use for it anymore. I'm fine where I am. I don't need the service where I am. Well, then do you have somewhere else you could put it? I said, I'll think about that. But right now, no. I said, I want to have that call pulled to review that call. She said, I'm holding your contract. So right now, I'm waiting on her to mail me that contract. Right? She said, I'll mail you your contract in the mail. I'm thinking that's done. We're good. So we're not good, but we come to a resolution. You're going to send me my contract for me to look over what I signed. The same night, I get 2 more calls from them, and it goes to my voicemail. The next day, when I tell you they call you all day long, and even when you hit stop, end the call, they call right back. Stop, they call right back. I had someone that called me. It was like, hi, I'm calling to collect the balance that you owe of $200 something. I said, wait a minute. I backdated I called in and canceled this in June. I don't owe you anything. July, August, I didn't have the service. So if anything, let's say for argument's sake, I'll owe you maybe like $120 for July, August, because your rep didn't follow through with closing it. No. You owe us for, and then she runs down something like 3 to 4 months when she said I didn't pay. Meanwhile, I have the credit card statements to show. And she said, well, no, my records show you didn't pay for those months. I said, I have the email right in front of me that says you owe a balance of, I think it was $60 something for the month of August. And now you're telling me $250. You guys have some kind of record keeping over there. So anyway, I said, listen, I can't do this. I said, first of all, you're calling me at 9 o'clock in the evening. You shouldn't be calling anyone after business hours. I apologize. What time would you like me to call you tomorrow? This woman calls me a good 8 times the next day. So why I was saying, do not use ADT if you are, like myself, a landlord, and you know that you may be using the services temporarily, or if you're someone that's on the go and you may not be at that residence for more than a year or two, do not sign up with them. Or if you do, record your conversations with them. When someone shows up to do that installation, read that contract over and make sure it aligns with the call that you had with the sales rep, because they do a serious bait and switch here. It's an aggressive retention campaign that is going to hurt their business in the long run. I understand because of the COVID situation with all the evictions, they probably lost a lot of money. I'm sure they lost a lot of revenue due to this COVID-19 business. I understand that. But at the end of the day, it still comes down to customer service and integrity. When the public doesn't trust you, it's going to hurt your brand. It's going to hurt your reputation. When you lie to customers and you exact almost revenge on the customers, where you're telling them that's what you get, and you have these people with poor customer service skills and poor social skills on the phone interacting with the public, it's going to hurt your brand. So I would never use ADT again unless they would have personally called me and apologized for the hell close to the aggravation and headache and the mistrust that they created for myself with their brand. Because of that. So I would advise anyone, if you're a landlord or you're a homeowner that knows you're not going to be in that area and with that holding on to that residence for long, or you just need the service, like I said, temporarily, do not sign up with them. And if you do sign up with them, make sure you have everything in writing. Make sure that you record those phone calls, because they're not a company that you can trust. They're not honest in how they deal with the public. They use bait and switch tactics. And they have an aggressive, brutal retention campaign or policy, whatever you want to call it, when trying to hold on to customers when they leave. The best thing they could have done in this relationship with me, I think, was to say, listen, okay, so we know that you're moving the services, or that you're canceling the services. Can we move the services? I could, if they were nice about it, like thinking about it, I could have moved it to another rental property. I could have moved it. I could have done that, even though I don't need it. But I could have done that just for the sake of, okay, listen, I'll use it. Maybe it'll give some of the tenants in that building a peace of mind knowing that it's there. But I have an on-site. I have 2 property managers over there that are like within not maybe a 5 to 10 minute distance from it, so I don't really need it over there. But that being said, I hope you liked this video. I hope this information was very helpful to you. Once again, if you have a choice, there's some of the better security companies out there. I will do my research on them before I even comment. Anyway, thank you. Please like this video. Thank you.